Shout out to Caressa for sending me this Neanderthal field story. Now, I've come across a lot of stories before, but this one right here definitely it doesn't have a good beginning. It just starts off bad and ends off in catastrophe. Now, you're looking at the picture right here, and I want you to focus on the two at the top. Father, next to that says daughter, wife. So you already know where this is headed. So basically what happened was this woman, whose name is Amanda Michelle Naylor McClure, was having a relationship with her dad, whose name is Larry. Her boyfriend, who is the guy right there below her, found out about it, and they had to get rid of him. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And the person who's beside him is the sister. Let me just go ahead and get into the article because it's a pretty lengthy one. A West Virginia woman, West Virginia, that's all they needed to tell me, last year participated in the murder of her boyfriend alongside her biological father, who she then married, has been sentenced to 40 years in prison after pleading guilty to that crime. The sentencing came down last Thursday after a judge doled out a punishment to 31-year-old Amanda Michelle Naylor McClure for her role in the February 2019 murder of John Thomas McGuire. It was reported that McClure and McGuire had been dating in Minnesota prior to the latter's death. McClure had filed for her guilty plea for second-degree murder back in July. A month earlier, her husband, 55-year-old Larry McClure Sr., had been sentenced to life without mercy for the crime. Larry, who was from Kentucky, had been living in West Virginia since a previous release from prison that was attributed to a sex offense charge. McGuire's dismembered body was found in a shallow grave in Skygusti, West Virginia on September 24, 2019. Amanda and Larry were estranged, as she was raised by parents who adopted her. The two ended up in an incestuous relationship, which culminated in a marriage that took place about a month after they killed McGuire together. So basically, that's what you're hearing. They killed her boyfriend so she could be and marry her dad. I'm telling you, the weirdest shit comes out of Palmdale. In a hearing that took place last week, McClure said that McGuire was murdered because her dad didn't want anyone else near me. McGuire's death took place shortly after he had revealed to Larry that he loved Amanda and subsequently wanted to get married. It was reported that after that confession was made, Larry paired with Amanda's sister Anna and drove to pick up both Amanda and McGuire in Indiana. The group then made their way to Skygusti, where they lived together for a week and a half. On Valentine's Day of 2019, Larry reportedly hit McGuire in the head with a bottle of wine. The victim was then tied up, had liquid methamphetamine injected into him, and was strangled with a garbage bag. In a previous testimony, Larry admitted McGuire was tortured for 2 days prior to his death. McGuire was buried, but less than a week later, he was exhumed for the purpose of being dismembered, and he was then buried again. Now look at that. Listen to that. They tortured that man for 2 days, then finally killed him, then buried him, then brought him back up and dismembered him just to rebury him. This almost sounds like a story I just recently did. It wasn't the same story. I would have definitely picked it up that it was the same story, but it reminds me of another story I previously did. In addition to the sentences handed down to Amanda and Larry, Anna is also facing first-degree murder charges due to her alleged participation in the extremely macabre chain of events. She's currently waiting trial. People writes that Judge Ed Cornish labeled the murder a heinous crime that lasted for 2 days and accused Amanda of trying to pin all of the blame on her dad. I don't think you're taking full responsibility for killing John. You're blaming it all on your father. After killing John, you dug him up later. When you all dug him up, his body was dismembered and stakes of some kind were driven through his body. Then you reburied him. There was no reason for this. Drove stakes through his body, as in something that's usually used to hold down maybe like a TP or a tent or something like that. That's crazy. That is wild. All because father and daughter wife wanted to have a relationship together. And more so the dad wanted it, but she definitely played a huge part in it. Like I said, the weirdest shit be happening in Palmdale, and you know mainstream media ain't gonna blow this one up. You notice they never really blow up these type of stories. That's why when people come over and they hear it from me or somebody else, it blows them away. because mainstream media doesn't talk about this like that. But it happens more often than not. And like I said, when they said West Virginia, the dad was born in Kentucky, then they talked about Indiana, all redneck states where a lot of debauchery happens and goes on there. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments.